Rome from a project that was like I don't know, like a digital Rome project to reconstruct all the temples as they were in like 300 AD, and it just kind of reinforced the value of like simulations, modeling, like the ability to kind of put all these things together. It's a reminder that like this even applies in archaeology, not just in biology, which is always cool.
Have you seen, Stephen, the reconstruction of the, you went to the Archaeological Museum in Cagliari
Yeah.
with the statues, the Monte Brahma statues, and they were also digitally reconstructed in high resolution. It was actually quite cool. I don't know if you did see that.
I think so. It sounds like some of the movies that I was being shown at the museum, I think probably featured them because I seem to remember seeing them zooming around in 3D and stuff. So yeah, it's not just for worms anymore. Okay. I just have this may be a quick one, guys. If sort of folks are just kind of coming back from holidays and whatnot, so we'll see. I just have sort of two organizational updates that are mine. The first one is in this last month we say goodbye for Travis, the intern, on GSOC. He had done a great job. He got a great review at the end. Got a lot of work done. I think also enjoyed himself, but we will probably still be able to say hello to Travis, the ongoing community member, because he says he's not done with OpenWorm forever. So so that's great. I think he's been taking it easy recently, as he deserves after a long summer. But can't thank him enough for his efforts over the summer, and the rest of the folks in the community, I think, would agree. So so thanks to him on that. And then the other thing that I just got back from, which is pretty cool, is that I got invited to talk about OpenWorm at the Human Brain Project in Geneva, and I gave two presentations, one on sort of where we are with our science roadmap and showing all the different things that we've done there, and the other one on how we do open community, and talking about the different outreach efforts that we've done, and sort of talked about yeah, many different aspects of that. So we've kind of, I think, hit the big time. It was well received. I asked folks in the room how many had heard of OpenWorm, and we got about 90% of them raised their hands. So they're definitely on their radar, which is great. And we'll see from any additional follow-up meetings if there is other intersection points. But I know that they have some awesome stuff that they're planning to release when they get a paper out, and they all are also interested in more interactions with the outside community in various ways, ranging from sharing of data to maybe even running parts of our simulations on their supercomputers, possibly. A lot of this is kind of held up until they get a paper out, but I'm hearing that this may not be too much longer before that happens. So so stay tuned on that. But it was great. Henry Markham was not there. I missed him. Would be great to see him in future sessions, though. But lots of the folks that are got keys on keyboard and making things happen on the digital side were there, and asked lots of great questions. So it was really great to get a chance to see them. Yeah, okay. So those are sort of the two major things that happened. I know that several of us are coming back from various breaks and weddings and just generally chilling out. So I will hand over the updates now, go around the room to whoever's next on our list. So looks like by way of selection of where the last agenda was, looks like WormSim update, perhaps. falls to Giovanni.
All right. So yeah, I was on all of this the last 2 weeks, but WormSim is out in the wild and pre-released to a number of people, including all of the team members of the OpenWorm project and some people in the community who have asked for an invite. And so with this currently beta testing process, we haven't released to just everybody who backed the Kickstarter, but we're basically beta testing and making sure everything is fine and all of that stuff. At the moment, we have 40 active accounts, 40. Most of which are actually people who backed the Kickstarter, and the rest is us. I mean the team, and everybody's helping with feedback and suggestions and whatnot, just to try and make it as good as it can be before it goes out to the rest of the team and the rest of the backers. So, which is we don't have a hard deadline for that, but it's pretty much looking good. As usual, we're doing the stuff with the Agile board, and all the issues that are being worked on are on the waffle board under the tag WormSim for the Geppetto stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't have any other updates other than that. Another thing to say is probably that currently working on a few things, trying to add things to the WormSim in terms of fixing some glitches, and in particular there's one with the data that's coming from Cybernetic that Sergey is helping me with. Sergey is now on holiday, so I'm waiting for him to get back to keep interfacing on that one issue, and it's in particular related to the activation signals for the muscle cells. There was a little bit of a glitch in the original data, but we're working to fix it. So that's gonna go in soon. And the other thing that's currently being worked on is to wire up backer names to the neurons on the brain exploration part of the WormSim. So when the people select the cells, we want to show the metadata. And in particular, there was the adopted neuron initiative. So we would like to show, because we have the data and then the actual neuron. So it would be nice when people select their neuron, that name comes up. So that's happening right now. But everything else is looking good. Yeah. Last time I gave a detailed overall kind of guided tour, so I'm not going to do it again this time. People can just refer to the other recorded hangout. So yeah, this is just the update.
Cool. All right. Very good. Thanks, Joe.
Problem.
All right. Looks like Matteo is updating us on Geppetto. So go ahead and turn to you.
Yeah, although very briefly, because I've been on holiday for the best part of last month. So what happened, though, just before was that release 0.2.5 was out, and I can link to the agenda also the release notes for that, which are here. And the other thing that I've been working on, and I'm actually also currently working on, is adding native support for SWC files, which is a standard format basically for storing morphology data for neurons, which is probably one of the most used out there. It's used in Neuromorpho and in another couple of initiative. So for people following the GitHub OpenWorm organization, you will see that there is a new bundle that popped up. It's currently in development, but there is already some preliminary results as to visualizing SWC morphologies. I was going to link the release notes to the agenda, which are here. And the last thing for me is that I will be speaking on the 23rd of September on behalf also of OpenWorm at FOSSA, FOSSA, which is a forum for open source. It's in France, it's in Nantes, and it's a forum for open source software in academia. So something like OpenWorm and Gepet are obviously very relevant for that. So I will, I think at the next OpenWorm meeting, I will have some updates to give based on whatever came up there, but it should be very interesting.
Sweet. Awesome. Okie dokie. So it looks like some of these other updates I think that would be covered by Travis. I will need to update on, but let me just see if I can kind of cover them for the moment. So there have been additions made. This adding the new Connectome project to PyOpenWorm is still ongoing. This is the most updated C. elegans Connectome created to date. I've probably talked about it a few times. That's going well. Profiling that has been happening. Haven't heard an update on that one. It is it's more important than you may think right now because of all the data that we've loaded in, because the graph is as big as it is in PyOpenWorm. We are actually getting some slowdowns, and so we will probably need to do a push on performance for PyOpenWorm before too long. I'm seeing that in a branch where I've just been hooking a couple things together. So that's something we're going to need to do. And the channel worm stuff, I think the web app has still been going forward. So both these topics, by the way, there will be more updates on. We will aim to get together this coming Sunday in another sort of mini hack session with the folks that have been working on this. And I'd also, since it's kind of out of the strict GSOC, we're kind of opening it up a bit more. So I will also send you guys all here the update for that. And I know that most folks don't work on Sundays and there's various availabilities, but nonetheless, a lot of it really will happen on the chat room anyway. So it's something that folks can look in on and you know, even just read along with the updates, even if you're not like participating or showing up or blocking time or whatnot. But it might be nice just to kind of repurpose what have been very focused sessions over the summer into something that's a little bit broader. And so have a look out for that. This sort of the topics that have been going on between both PyOpenWorm and ChannelWorm are obviously of interest to the rest of the project. And so so look out for that invite as well. Okay, next on the list is DevoWorm. Just in time, Bradley showed up. So thank you, sir, and
yeah.
You can update us on that.
Can you hear me? There's some background noise here. I just want to make sure.
Coming through clear, loud and clear for me.
Okay, so yeah, DevoWorm we're doing. So Tom is working on the morphozoic part of it, and he presented on that a couple weeks ago in our meeting. And to refresh your memory, morphozoic is the cellular automata model of, it's really pattern formation. It's supposed to be embryogenesis, but we're still debating as to whether it's useful for embryogenesis. And so he's working on that. Actually, he's writing up like a technical paper on it. In terms of the worm guides data set, I've been analyzing some of the data, and I'm going to be presenting some of that data in our next meeting. So you want to join in. If you want to join in, you're welcome to it. basically taken the Worm Guides data set and combined it with other data sets that are publicly available, and we're trying to find interesting patterns in the data. So we're dealing with the pre-hatch embryo, basically. So we're dealing with a fair amount of the lineage tree, maybe 600 or some cells, that we can characterize the position in the embryo and some other characteristics like their angle of differentiation. So when they divide, where do they end up in the embryo? And then there's other information like timing information. How long do cells take to divide? And given that we know its position in the lineage tree, does that tell us anything about maybe what will happen in the adult worm, or are there predictive things going on? So we're coming along on that. As for the Elegant Mind collaboration, we talked to Atsushi. I can't remember his last name, but Arisaka Katsushi, and he's at UCLA, and he has this state-of-the-art imaging equipment. So we've been talking to him about imaging an embryo of C. elegans, but I think he's still working out the details of that. But that was a couple weeks ago, so hopefully we'll be getting some data soon. It's I imagine it'll take a while to get it, but because it's a bunch of students in the lab and they're doing a lot of the work, a lot of the actual heavy lifting. But they have a lot of really cool equipment there, so we can get data there too.
Awesome. Okay, cool, very good. And you guys are also, just as a check-in point, you guys are doing meetings every Monday, right?
Yeah, last Monday because of Labor Day we didn't do it, but we have usually every Monday there's a meeting, and people drop in and out, but everyone's invited if they want to join.
Okay, yeah, I did want to connect other folks if you want to know more about what's going on in there. Those sessions are usually pretty interesting, and I don't get to go enough, but when I do, it's fun. So, cool. Alrighty. Anything else?
Nope.
Okay, great. Let's go on to movement validation then, where Michael seems to be reporting from Alaska.
Yeah, I'm from your hometown here. That's right.
I didn't realize you were on vacation as well. So.
Well, we might as well use the technology we have available to us here. It's not apparently perfect, but
it's good enough for me. I was fooled.
That's right. Yeah, so movement validation. So we had our standing meeting number 9 about 3 weeks ago, and we're about a week away from our next one. To be honest, this last month has been relatively quiet. Jim and I haven't had the chance to do very much. So a lot of the updates you're seeing in the meeting here are still current. So we still have, as a next action for the minimum viable product, connecting that with the output from the rest of the simulation. And in fact, I spoke about some of the technical details with Porig about that. So that's still ongoing, and that's still a task that needs to be done, is to get an actual output from Geppetto there, and then to actually see what the scalar value output is. Now that we're actually able to do that, to process a skeleton file into a scalar value reflecting how closely that skeleton movement matches a set of real worms.
Okay.
So other people on the team are working away on various pieces. There's computer vision obviously working on happening at the Brown Lab there with Kezi Lee and Avellino. We also have Jim still working on the feature calculation code. He's refactored it, and we still have some loose ends to tie up there to make sure that everything continues to work and that all the validation tests are satisfied with his new code. But once they are, hopefully we can switch over to his new refactored code. I believe Aiden is still working away on the behavioral syntax code the Python version of Andre Brown's behavioral syntax code, which is a totally different way of looking at movement validation, and a couple of other guys working away on their pieces, but a relatively quiet month with movement validation.
Okay, fair enough. I think we all had sort of relatively quiet months, so I can totally relate to that.
I have no excuse that I got married or anything, though. That's a pretty good excuse.
You were in Alaska. You were in Alaska.
Yes, that's true. I've been on a cruise. You know, there you go.
Makes sense. All right. Well, maybe then. Thanks, Michael. Looks like we don't have currently cybernetics a slot for cybernetic, and so we'll make one again and go over to Andre for his update.
Am I right? It's my turn?
Yes.
Okay. So previously I told that I was going to start some experiments with different types of worm movements. So yes, I successfully tried these things. I started from the following statement. A video on YouTube, which is well known for us, on which the worm is crawling on a film of liquid. So I analyzed it and decided that it's rather swimming than crawling because of very significant sliding or slipping. The worm does not keep its track. If worm is not sliding, then its trace will be a single line with the thickness equal to the thickness of the worm. And if there is some small sliding, then the width will be higher. And if the worm is just swimming, then it will, during some time, it will fill all the area inside its amplitude of form of the body. So I decided to try to experiment with different types of the floor on which the worm is crawling. The first attempt was just to make to replace a layer of liquid with a layer of soft body or elastic matter. Same thing. I tried experiments with different types of wide stiffness or elasticity coefficient and so on, but well, it wasn't very successful. If we make a complete, solid layer of elastic matter, uniform and hard to explain. When its structure is regular and it's a complete box of matter. So I decided to try to replace it with some regular structure of columns of elastic matter, which are vertical. So my hope was that that the worm will on the place of its body will make some of these columns to shorten their width because of worm's weight, and all the rest will play a role of the walls, which provide forces which will allow worm to move forward or backward, depending on how he contracts its muscles. Because when we look at video recordings of a real worm crawling on agar, we can notice that when worm crawled over some surface, there is a trace after him, so the worm modifies the layer of matter on which it crawled, leaving a kind of
trail.
Yes, trail, and modifying the flat surface. It becomes
Indented. Yeah.
Yes. So now it's time for some demonstrations.
My favorite part.
Is it possible to see something? I hope
Yes.
yes.
That's beautiful.
Yes.
So here I'm trying to show these white things. This sorry, graphics is far from perfect. Okay, I will now turn the time on, and the worm will crawl.
Nice. So the white things are little cones of elastic matter, basically?
Yes, vertical columns of elastic matter, which are about 1/3 of the height of the worm. It's possible to see right now that the worm width is higher.
Yes, I see that, yes.
But its lower part is below the level of the general level of these white things. Okay. So now
That's pretty awesome.
the locomotion is much more realistic in terms of period, amplitude, and velocity. I tuned all these parameters, but there is still some sliding and slipping. Not so much as previously, but still there is something to work on. And of course, the trajectory of the worm movement was first recorded, and now I'm just playing this video, just reproducing how coordinates change in time.
Oh, this is a playback? That's a playback?
Yes, that's right.
Does it play back faster? Is it possible to play it back faster?
Yes, if we write, for example, only one screenshot out of 1,000.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
Okay, one more picture of how the worm can change its body form. So, for example, this one is possible, and that's okay for him. So no I mean, it's convenient for this model to be in such posture. No leakage of liquid inside or some other inconveniences. We can even notice that the tail touches the middle of the body, and it looks realistic as well. So no such things like tail inside the body,
Right.
like in some games in 3D collisions, such some things. So I'm trying to continue these experiments because now I can somehow reproduce the moving out of the worm on.
Yeah, it looks like you're very close there to an omega turn, almost.
Yes. That's what I was going to reproduce, but not succeeded yet completely.
That's awesome.
So that's it.
Great.
Thanks for your attention.
Oh, great update. Great updates. I love closing with the cool graphic stuff. That looks very cool.
Very nice. This is rough.
Great. Yeah. So I think let's just sort of run through everybody here real fast. Looks like we're going to have a little bit extra time, so we'll give most of that back to you. But
Hey, can I ask a question of Andre just real quick?
Oh yeah, of course, please.
Yes.
Andre, is it possible maybe to release that as like a YouTube video that maybe we could put on the channel? Like, that's pretty cool what you've made there. Maybe the sped up version that Stephen is talking about.
Well, why not?
Just a thought. I don't want to make you do work, but I just thought I'd make that as an observation. If you think it's in a state to do that. And I had one more question. You were mentioning the swimming state of the worm, I believe. So
Yes.
have you reached the point where you can visualize that? Because obviously what you're showing there is the crawling state where the worm is sort of indented into some agar substrate there. But do you have a similar simulation somewhere in your back pocket there for the worm sort of free moving in three-dimensional space?
Sorry, but I'm not sure that I completely understood.
I guess I'm saying the swimming state, do you have a simulation for that? Do you have the visualization for the swimming version?
Not yet, because this version which I showed now significantly differs from the one which is already on YouTube, where the liquid is very thin.
Yes.
So yes, it's a kind of, it's not crawling already, but not swimming yet.
Crawling first before swimming. Got it.
So I think it's a good idea to make the level of the water comparable with the width of the worm, and see what will happen in this case, right? So like a kind of real swimming in much more deeper water.
I was also thinking it would be interesting. This could be an interesting verification, for example, or validation check. We could slowly ramp up the viscosity of the medium, and then find out at what point the worm modulates between crawling and swimming motions, and then maybe compare that. Potentially this could be an experiment done where the same thing is done with real worms to see at the exact viscosity level at which they switch their motion type, and then if that viscosity level is close, then we've done another validation of the simulation. Just a thought.
Yes, good point.
That's obviously much later.
Okay, I'll keep it in mind and try to do something. I mean, now it's quite hard to somehow connect the real viscosity values for swimming and crawling with the values in our simulation. It's one of the quite important questions. So yes, if we will have some connections between these,
some calibration, yeah.
Yes, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
That will be a strong point for our research, for papers, for general understanding of the physics beyond this, physics underlying these processes. So yes, I think I need to pay some attention to this and try to perform it. Thanks.
Andre has done some experiments where he modulates the viscosity just to show different speeds of forward motion that are, there's a figure like that that's going into the second manuscript that we're writing up on the worm body. So looks like there's already the means of that. But then yeah, there is a paper that actually does exactly what you're saying too, for real worms in terms of measuring that. So that would be very good to dig that one up and apply it. Cool. Okay. So we had been doing a thing where we went around and like did more depth on one topic. We had been doing that for I think a few cycles, and then I'm not exactly sure. It's just going into holidays or whatnot for some folks where that kind of fell down a little bit. But we should probably do it again. But there's sort of an in-depth topic I think that we haven't really touched on much, which is sort of the community. And like community management, and it's one where I would actually see if Travis is available to talk with us a bit too, because I think those of us who are involved in like the managing of other people, which is many of us, in terms of like how do we, at this point, like pretty much everybody here works with outside collaborators, one way or the other, and how do we get those communities in sync? I think is a question that we've all kind of been working on a little bit. And there have been various tools and various proposals that have been put out there. But at the end of the day, I think we all kind of have our own ways of and patterns and rhythms to focus on that. So what I propose is for next time, we try to do a little bit of a deep dive on just organizing the community as we do, and just to take a look real quick at like milestones across different project areas, if folks are down, and just the practices that we use on GitHub, which I think increasingly is like the good place for all that stuff, regularity of meetings and that kind of stuff, and maybe see if there's any ideas that came in from sort of this summer as well, to hear everybody's experiences with the community management part. So does that sound okay to you guys? Does that sound like something you guys would be all right to take up in a? Okay, great, cool. Sounds good. So I will see if Travis is available for that for the next time, and then we'll do that for about like 15, 20 minutes or so, get some discussion going on that, and see what next stuff comes out on that. So, all right. Excellent. Does anybody have anything else sort of for the good of the order, or are we stop there?
Yeah, that's it.
Cool. All right, guys. Well, I will catch you online on mailing lists and chat rooms and other sub-meetings of this. But for now, call this one to close. Talk to you all later.
Thank you,
Thanks, guys.
everyone. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.
See you. Bye.